Hi there, everybody. It's showtime on Three Guys Before the Game. We welcome you in. It's episode 687. It's a double. It's a recap of West Virginia, Iowa State, a preview of West Virginia and the Cincinnati Bearcats. It's coming up, and everyone is accounted for. It's going to be quite a show. Hoppy's in, the Senator's in, so let's get underway. Three Guys Before the Game is brought to us by, yes, it's brought to us by Gomart. Get that Gomart rewards card, download the app, and immediately begin saving on your food and your fuel. Download the app immediately. Got that vinyl savings days. I'm going to tell you more about that. Three Guys brought to us by Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans. Well, they sell family fun. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com. Tudor's Biscuit World. Start your day the homemade way with a Tudor's Biscuit. By Comax Business Systems, keeping West Virginia's business data safe, secure, and efficient for 25 years. By Jan Dill's Attorneys at Law, they won't take no for an answer. And by Conley CPA Group, they bring us spreads on stats. They provide so much value beyond just the numbers. It's West Virginia getting ready for its Big 12 Conference home opener against Cincinnati. We'll talk about that in a second. And as I just said there a moment ago, Comax Business Systems, one of our sponsors. Is it time for your business to get a new phone system? They do that, and they do it with tremendous proficiency. If it's time for your business to get a new phone system, and obviously the technology on these bad boys has changed through the years, basically it's perfect. It's a perfect phone system. Wow. Wherever your people are, you can track them down, no missed messages. It's the right thing to do. Check it out at Comax Business Systems, ComaxWV.com. Three Guys also brought to us by Jan Dill's Attorneys at Law. They won't take no for an answer. Think about that. Just think about that whole concept. When you don't take no for an answer, just changes a lot of things. And they don't take no for an answer for their clients. They serve clients in all 50 of our United States. And what do they specialize in? Well, military benefits, disability claims, Social Security claims. That is a bit of a bureaucratic pyramid maze that you have to go through to get through it all. You need help on your side, and that is what Jan Dill's Attorneys at Law do every single day for people across our country. So if you or someone that you know needs that assistance, needs that help, don't go alone. Do it with them. Doesn't cost you a penny until they get a settlement for you. Visit Jan Dill's Attorneys at Law. And like Hoppy, don't take no for an answer. All right. Big 12 basketball officially underway. West Virginia had the distinction of playing in the very first game back on Friday night. Sold-out crowd at Iowa State, and West Virginia comes up on the short end of it, which leads to a bunch of questions. Where exactly are the Mountaineers? Maybe a little tough to figure it out because you're playing an Iowa State team that could win it all in the league. It's definitely going to be in a battle throughout the course of this season. I think you could say without any argument. They're going to be top 2 or 3 all year when this thing starts to get after it. So exactly where is West Virginia? We'll get that figured out starting Tuesday night when West Virginia brings in Cincinnati, a team that is not expected to contend for the crown. You're on your home floor. You'll get a little bit better of an idea.
I'm not going to say anything because I got all my stuff in my segment. So, but I did pay attention.
So you're deferring to your opening segment?
He's become very territorial about this segment. Have you noticed?
Man, I think it's the only part of the show he participates in anymore.
Did you say
shuts everything else down? I'll save all my comments for my obvious observations.
I'll go.
Did you see how he said it though?
He said.
You see how he said? He said, "My segment." My.
Go ahead. Just hit the music and let him do it. Let him do his segment.
I actually did a whole page of notes, but I'm not going to do all those notes.
Well, let me just start the thing.
Hit the music. Just go ahead.
All right, let's do this.
He's got thoughts that sound brand new, but they're things we already knew.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wish I had that much hair.
A nice connection, 304.
Yeah. Here's to you.
Yeah.
Obviously, somebody not doing dry January. With that.
Bam, hit it, baby.
I had a whole page of notes, but I'm not going to do that because it just would take too long, and it'll probably some of it will get into Brad stuff, even though mine are obvious. But I'll start with this: they have better players. Iowa State does, And, Brad, I think when you were setting up the game, you talked about Momcilovic, and he's pretty good player. Just knock down shots. I mean, and Jefferson with the triple-double, they got guys, they got more guys. And they played well. And I thought what was most disappointing to me about that, and look, we knew that Iowa State was better. They were 16, 17-point favorite, is that after the first half of the first half, you never felt like the game was in doubt. And Iowa State just continued to pull away. So you really didn't match up well at all with them. And Coach Hodge said on your all's postgame, he said, which was key, when you get open shots against a top 5 team in the country, you have to make them and have somebody, Brad, go off. And obviously Honor struggled. Chance Moore had a great game, in the starting lineup, but just did not match up well. And now you have West Virginia's down to 72nd in the KenPom rankings. And as of today, 11 other Big 12 teams are ranked ahead of you in KenPom. So it's just difficult. So I was thinking about Cincinnati and Kansas coming up, and I would not go cliche, although that's my strength. I would not go there on must win, but I would just say this week or these next 2 games, you have some of the best opportunities of what is a difficult schedule. You have better opportunities than you will have many other nights in this league. Kansas is coming off the loss to UCF, and Cincinnati is, I think, beatable. So even though they gave Houston a run, so you have better opportunities, and you need to take advantage of those opportunities. So that's my summation on WVU basketball. WVU women 3-0.
Yeah.
So good start for them. They survived at 1-2 at Kansas State, made free throws down the stretch, so congratulations to them. I don't think we've said Andy Kotelnicki's name in a while. Thought I'd throw his name in there.
Fair.
Yeah, so he's going back to Kansas from Penn State, going back to Kansas. So that's interesting. All these transfer portals, and I for some reason I got fascinated by that. I'm checking through, just looking at all of them. Iowa State's lost like 6 starters.
6 starters?
6 starters. They only have like 6 guys back.
They had 16 players.
You talk about a fan base and a group that when we were out there, talked to a bunch of people there that are close to Iowa State, and they were like, What is this? You talk about a group that's just not used. They'd had an unprecedented run of consistency keeping Matt Campbell for 10 years, which just doesn't happen. Yeah. They are in a totally new world with all the new people they have coming in.
Starting quarterback, backup quarterback, starting running back, starting receiver, 2 starting linebackers, starting defensive back. Those are the ones I just came up with randomly.
They had 14 people left as of last week. I'm not exaggerating that number.
Yeah.
That was the number reported. They had 14 guys left.
The staff-wise, too. When you say decimated, they're starting from scratch.
Yeah. But I didn't, and I don't know how word is filtering out, but I didn't get many WVU NIL names. And I don't know if they're going to release them or how that comes out. I know there was rumors about a couple of guys and maybe a couple of guys committed, but I didn't see much news there.
Well, it's early.
Hoppy tight. Day one of the portal is tight. He thought there were going to be 72 signings.
I thought it actually happened pretty quickly.
Couple guys committed. There'll be more that continually come out here.
It's early.
It's all right.
It's early Monday morning. Very early Monday morning.
I know, but I thought it would be like signing day. Really, I thought it would be boom. That deals were already done, and then it would happen.
I don't know how you thought deals would be done. They can't contact the young men until the portal opens. I don't know why you thought deals were done.
Well, that is true. Certainly, there was no contact prior to that. And finally, the World Darts Championship was...
Excuse me?
The World Darts Championship just wrapped up after 24 days, and Luke Littler of England was the best out of the 128-member field, and he claims the Sid Waddell Trophy. Of course, Sid Waddell is the voice of darts in England.
First I've heard of that.
And so Luke the Nuke, as he's known, claims the $1.3 million prize. He's just 18 years old. He's a real phenom in darts.
You won $1.3 million for winning that thing.
Yeah. And one other darts-related news. Dart star Dom Taylor lost his tour card and was stripped of championship prize money after failing a drug test.
Performance enhancing?
Well, I hope they're not checking for beer. I mean, that would be a big problem there.
Failed a drug test in darts.
Wow.
I guess they saw that dart like really flying toward the dartboard. I don't know.
I appreciate you getting that information. That's very good.
Well, I didn't think World Dart Championship was on your.
No, it was good. We didn't. We've been into a lot of things. There's a lot of things going on there. But as Brad said, today, this is Monday, the 5th of January. You're going to start to see, names, more and more names coming in. The longer the wait on some does concern you. You don't want them to go and do a whole bunch of visiting to other places, because the next place they go to says, what was the number? And then you just play that game. So you just hope you get locks them down.
It's just, you have to sort of, you're watching this and there's like, I think I've looked at this number. I've triple checked this number, 4,000.
Yes, correct.
That's the report.
4,000 players. And I don't know why I'm doing it. I'm like going through and looking who's going where and names I recognize. It's crazy. And then you have in the portal, you have like, well, he's making visits. Somebody's going and they're going to visit this school and that school.
Speaking of that, did you see the Oklahoma lineman graphic? This was, of all the graphics that are out there and all the kids, this one kind of caught my eye, gave me a chuckle. There's a kid that played at Oklahoma State last year. I forget his name, offensive lineman. And his people, his agent, somebody in his behalf put out his graphic of who his visits would be once the portal opened. And he had down to his final 4 visits. Now, he played at Oklahoma State last year. I don't know if I said that.
Yeah, you did.
I said he played at Oklahoma State.
He was there.
One of the 4 schools that had the logos out there, and I forget the other 4, he noted that he would be visiting Oklahoma State when the portal opened. I thought, well, that's kind of a weird way to say that, isn't it?
Yes. It's 4,000 kids in the portal. All 4,000 are going to be in the NFL. All 4,000, their coaches didn't use them right, didn't let them play their game, so they have to go other places.
Hey, speaking of players going places, just that Steelers game last night, and Aaron Rodgers had a heck of a game, but I keep thinking because of West Virginia connection, but you know who snapped in the ball and blocked for him and is going to the playoffs? Zach
did a fantastic job. I watched a lot of them last night.
And it's fun just to watch that game and just watch Zach.
Yep.
Do what he does. So happy for him, certainly.
Absolutely. This transfer portal stuff, though. So Brendan Sorsby goes to Texas Tech.
Right.
I was telling Hop here as we took the long elevator ride down to the studio today. That's when it just gets so, to me, head shaking that here's this kid. He's in your own league at Cincinnati. Tech comes out and just gets him a big-ass bag of money and just says, here, come on over here. Instantly eligible. And I know I'm saying everything that's the way that the rules are today, but it's just this bizarre craziness just makes me shake my head and go like, what are we doing? And I don't know when the thing is going to get fixed, but you got to have some kind. It's just this. I mean, there used to be a rule in the Big East that like if you transferred within the league, you sat out 2 years.
Oh.
So you never had guys, they would go to other places, but you'd never have guys. Now it's just like you're lined up against one guy 1 year, he's wearing one jersey. It's just.
And now, and look, in the NFL, it happens, but it's kind of you don't usually go to somebody in the same
division.
conference, so same division. So it's just crazy.
I've heard it said before, you're allowed to get better.
Yeah.
Boy, is Sorsby an example. Has to leave his first school because he didn't play. Goes to Cincinnati, and thanks to Sorsby, West Virginia beats Cincinnati. Remember, he just was gifting the ball all over to West Virginia's defense.
Beat him up.
And then he turns into 1 year later. He had a fantastic year, at least on paper. I'll be honest, I didn't watch them enough because we didn't play them. So I didn't watch them enough to give you an evaluation. But statistically was really good and turns himself into the #1 portal acquisition or the most coveted guy in the portal. Amazing. Allowed to get better, though, huh?
You are allowed to get better. But,
so we'll say Tech certainly needed to upgrade at that position given what they had defensively. So they think they did it in Sorsby.
Hoover goes from TCU to Indiana.
Yeah.
This will be also it's an amazing thing, and everyone that's involved with college football in making the rules.
What rules?
Should be embarrassed. For the last 5-10 years, if you've been involved in leading up to this and didn't have the foresight, you should be embarrassed with what system you've got going right now. That's what I say.
Speaking of Iowa State and always West Virginia connection, Rocco signs with Penn State, which is probably the least surprising news coming out of the transfer portal.
Yeah.
By the way, I mean, Matt Campbell must have just had a bus. Because most of those guys went to Penn State.
Well, I think he just had a Brinks truck with some seating in it.
Yeah.
I think is what it was,
better.
probably.
There's
just
normally
took the actual cash truck there. Just they'd outfitted it inside with some seating. I think. I didn't confirm that.
There's normally only one seat in the back. That guard sits back there. There's only one seat normally in the back.
Yeah, so I think they retrofitted some seating.
They took that out there and just put more seats.
Yeah.
We heard a number. While we were at Iowa State, what they're going to pay their backup quarterback. Remember that? It was stunning. Large seven figure.
Really, for the
large
backup?
7-figure deal for the backup.
We'll see. That's not confirmed.
I'll give you I'll just give you an old guy thing. Is that Brad and I did 20 bowl games. We love it. We love the games. I love watching. I love the 3.5 hours. But outside of that, it's driving me a little bit nuts. And I'm starting to lose interest in everything but the games themselves.
Well, it's tough off the field. There's no question. But then you turn those playoff games on, and that last one with Ole Miss and Georgia.
It was fantastic.
I mean,
game.
You're just locked in. That was high-level drama. And as I say on here all the time, the games always save the sport, is what it is. The games save the sport because the games are just awesome. Up and down the line, the games are just awesome, and that's what we love. And, yeah, you've got to manage through some of the off-field, off-court stuff. There's no doubt. But the games always save the sport.
And the ratings, the views on the non-playoff games were tremendous again this year. And there's just people say bowls are dead. No, bowls aren't dead. And the attendance is not the big factor at these bowl games. It's how many people are watching, and the numbers are up again. So as a result, those bowls aren't going away. TV networks will continue to pay for those bowl games. 3 Guys Before the Game brought to us by Tudor's Biscuits. If you're having an event where you need some catering done, it's the easy way. All you got to do is give them a call. Say, I want, I don't know, how many biscuits you want? 50, 75, 100? What do you need, 125? You need a big thing of coffee? They'll probably get you like a big industrial strength, big tub of coffee. They can get that. Get a cinnamon roll that weighs about 13 pounds. Just call Tudor's Biscuit World, and they will take care of all your catering needs. People coming in, people coming out, parties, whatever that is.
Those biscuits too.
Those pharmaceutical people. Those pharmaceutical salespeople. They do a lot of that, don't they? They always bring breakfast into the office, right, Brad? They just always.
They used to. I don't know if they still do.
Yeah, I think they probably could do that. They could go to Tudor's.
You could have it at your office.
Sure.
You want to win with your office this week?
Yeah. Exactly. You want to start off the new year?
Go get that.
Have your folks take good care of you? Well, heck yeah. Just do that. All right, let's do this. Spreads on stats.
We'll just go right to the numbers.
I didn't have time to get one for you this morning.
Starting the new year off hungry.
Just like the old year.
Ready? 5, 4, 3.
Spreads on stats, our breakdown of the numbers, West Virginia, Iowa State, and looking ahead to Cincinnati's Bearcats, brought to us by the Conley CPA Group, providing value beyond numbers. They're more than numbers. Like this
Well, it's below. It's better than just what I would give you.
We'll try and take the numbers and weave them into discussion about the game. That's what we'll do.
No. I'm talking about Conley.
Oh, Conley? Oh, I thought you meant our second.
They walk with you step for step as a business owner and say, don't do that. Do this. By the way, there's a new federal rule where you can do this, and then you can do this and go, really? And it'll save me how much?
Tax people actually have rules.
Yes, they do. There's no portal in the tax world, not at all.
Now, some are a little bit loosey-goosey. But
well, no, you don't want that. Not Conley CPA, 40-plus years in business, man. They got it going on. If you need help with your business, they can also come in and remote your accounting. That's right, remote accounting. You don't have to deal with it on a day-to-day basis. They got it for you. Visit Conley CPA Group. All right, so we're going to do a double here. Breakdown Iowa State, preview Cincinnati.
Yeah, we'll start with Iowa State, and I think first and foremost, guys, as we talked going in, that's a tough place to get a win. If I have my numbers right on this, they're 41-2 over their last 43.
I think that's right.
41-2, pretty good. And I was impressed. That's the first time I'd been to a game in Hilton Coliseum in decades. Crowd was really good. Students weren't there. It was still loud. It was still packed. It was good. They've got, especially their starting lineup is talented. They've got 5 talented dudes. Bateman, I thought, was really impressive coming off the bench.
He hurt.
He was excellent too. So they've got a good team. They're going to be in this game. I guess I went at this a little bit different. And yes, you lost by 21. So at the end of the day, you weren't good enough. You didn't produce enough, and you didn't walk out with the win. I get it. I took a different approach, Hop.
Okay.
And I watched this game maybe a little bit differently, in that I thought West Virginia for a pretty big stretch did exactly what you were trying to do. And I'll get into some numbers that back up what I mean here. But just offensively, that's one of the best defensive teams, not only in the league, but nationally. That's a defensive backcourt that many were calling the best defensive backcourt in the country, but certainly in the league. And listen, West Virginia goes into that, and if you had told me they'd turn it over 12 times, I would have thought you'd have a chance to win that game. So you didn't get turned over. You didn't have trouble getting into your offense. You got a lot of open shots, and I'll give you some numbers here. I was actually a little bit surprised, given their defensive numbers and what they do to teams and suffocate some teams out, how much West Virginia was controlling the shots they were getting, especially in the entire first half.
Yeah, Brad, in 2/3 of the first half, you're watching that game, and I thought about you guys and listening to you guys, is that, West Virginia's doing exactly what they wanted to do.
At both ends go the other way, and we'll talk about Momcilovic because he was outstanding. He was as advertised, and there were some breakdowns in that game, there's no doubt. And against really elite teams like that, if you have stretches where you're not buttoned up, they're going to make you pay. And I thought that was the difference in the game. End of the first half, West Virginia had a chance to gain some extra possessions with some rebounds and or some loose balls that were banging around. In the second half, Momcilovic just got loose too many times and made you pay every time he got loose. And I mean that almost literally. And so against good teams, that's going to open up the lead. They're going to run away from you when you do those things. But I still contend you were closer than you were further away. Defensively, other than letting him loose a few times, you were almost right where you wanted to be. Again, I'll get into some of these numbers. Jefferson triple-doubled. You mentioned it. And he's very, very good. But he didn't just straight bully you. And that's what you were worried about going into that game, that he takes that ball at 6'9" and gets ahead of steam and goes right at the basket. And you needed to cut off lanes and play the gaps. And West Virginia did that for the most part. Now, and I think Ross's term afterwards was a good one, especially minus Belo. You were missing one of your most valuable players that covers defensively, covers rebounding, covers block shots to erase some mistakes. You didn't have him. That was clearly a factor. But Ross said after, I thought this term was appropriate, the game got a little long for us. And I thought that made sense. You were in it for stretches, even when the score wasn't indicating that, and then you just had some breakdowns. Momcilovic broke out and had some open looks. You gave up some dives to the basket late when you were trying to press your defense up. But you did some things out of there that I think you can pull forth and hopefully move into some of these other games and saw some good things out of that. So
you actually came out of that. See, I came out of the way, and I defer to you because you have more knowledge than I do. I came away from that game not encouraged because I felt like it was not in question after the first 12 minutes, but you actually came away more encouraged.
I looked at it the different, and I know I tilt optimistic. I get that. So I'm trying to watch the game saying, all right, what did you do? How did you want to execute this game, and how much of that did you do? And the result matters. There's no question. But again, you're at 41-2 in that building. So going in there and getting a win wasn't necessarily my expectation. My expectation was, did you look like you did some things that you can pick up and move forward? And I thought the answer was yes to that. Now, would you like it to be closer? Yes. Would you have liked the score to not be 20? Yes, all of that. But if you go through here, here's the biggest thing that jumped to me. Here's the biggest thing. You were minus 18 points from the three-point line. They scored 18 more points than you did from three. It was really minus 21. Amir hit a last-second three with like 3.6 on the clock. You basically were minus 21 from the three-point line. What'd you lose by?
Yeah, 21.
21. I mean, that to me was the difference. And again, you can't erase that. But if you look across most other categories, they are really even. And so I walked away not as discouraged as you normally would. Now, you got to find a way to pick some of that performance up and move it forward and then get better in a couple of areas, no doubt.
Not rebounds, though, right? You got out rebounded, especially.
Well, you did, but some of that's because you missed so many shots.
Okay.
So they had opportunities to get more rebounds.
Okay.
When you look at those offensive rebounds, and it was the end of the first half where that got away, and I combined these two categories. There were a bunch of deflections that West Virginia got. It's part of why I didn't think the defense was as bad maybe as the score indicates. You got a lot of deflected balls that you just didn't get your hands on, that you just didn't corral. And those are those thin margin for error things in these games against elite teams that you can't do that. There can't be 7 tip balls that you don't get. There can't be those offensive rebounds at the end of the first half. But like if you look at second chance points, they only got 11 second chance points on their 12 rebounds. Well, you don't want to give up 12 offensive rebounds, but only 11 second chance points isn't awful. You only lost that category by 2, and you were missing your best offensive rebounder in Brennan Lorient. So there's some of that you have to play into this as well. Again, go down these numbers. You scored more at the free throw line than they did. They only had 1 less turnover than you did. You only lost points off turnovers by 2. Total rebounds, we just went through that. Second chance points, you only lost by 2. Points in the paint, only -6, and you didn't have one of your paint scores. Fast break points, and I'm going to get to some numbers in this, only a -4 deficit. So they're a better team than you right now. There's no doubt about that. But that 3-point line really changed that game significantly. Guys, if Honor Huff's 1 of 8 from 3, West Virginia's going to have a tough time winning the game. That's just the matter of fact of that. West Virginia had made double-digit threes in its last 3 games, and you were right there. You should have beaten Ohio State, and you won the other 2 games. That was just the biggest difference. They have one of the very best shooters in the country, might be the best shooter in the country, and he was blistering hot. You have one of the best shooters in the country. On certain nights, the best shooter in the country, and he didn't have a great night. That's just how that works. How often do we say it? You got to make shots, Hop. And West Virginia just did not, but it was that 3-point category that was really big. West Virginia had 7 unguarded catch and shoots. I actually thought they had more, but let's just go with what the numbers showed. Scored only 3 points off those 7 unguarded shots. So you had a chance for 21 points there. You got 3. Second fewest all year. The fewest, when you had open looks, and you only scored less points than that, was against Wake Forest.
Mm-hmm.
Another game, you were around it. You just didn't make the shots. And what did they have? They had a kid, an NBA guy in Juke Harris, that made his shots. It was the difference. Again, I mentioned those 12 turnovers. You're right where you had to be. How about this? This surprised me. I mean, you could see it happening during the game, but if you had told me this back in our preview episode, I would have said you're going to be right there. West Virginia actually had more live ball turnovers than Iowa State did. West Virginia created more live ball turnovers than Iowa State did. That's right where you wanted to be, Hop. And if you look for improvement within the season, which you're trying to do, against Wake Forest, you did not handle that well. A similar type of defense. That hard jumping and double teaming at the ball, you didn't handle it well. West Virginia adjusted its game plan a little bit going into this game to account for that, and then executed and handled that part for the most part. You were moving the ball and getting looks, just didn't get them to fall. That's part of that issue. Here's one. West Virginia was 1 of 5 from 3 off live ball turnovers. So one of the things West Virginia wanted to do in that game, Hoppy, when they got a live ball turnover, they wanted to push the pace a little bit, which is not normally what West Virginia does. You want to limit possessions and slow the pace. But in those situations, they wanted to push a little bit in order to get a good, clean look before Iowa State set its defense up. Now, West Virginia had been one of the very best in the country at making threes off live ball turnovers. 46% from 3 coming into the game in those situations. You went 1 of 5. So you were below what you normally did. You hit a couple more of those, maybe you're in the game longer. You're still in the 87th percentile nationally in 3-point field goal percentage off live ball turnovers. So it's a category West Virginia's good at. It was not good against Iowa State. Part of the issue. Just some other outliers. I'm just kind of all over the place with these, but Iowa State had made 9 corner threes in its previous 13 games. It made 4 against West Virginia. So it found a hole, and it was able to attack that spot and did something that it hadn't done all year, which, again, good teams are going to do. They're going to adjust and do some things. You had the pace right where you wanted it to be. That game was played at your pace for the bulk of the game. Again, a lot of that was due to the lack of turnovers by West Virginia. Iowa State had its fewest transition possessions in any game this season and its 3rd fewest points in transition this season. That was one of the keys. You wanted to slow them down, keep it at your pace. You did.
He's on a roll.
He is.
Yeah.
Let's go to defense. your defense. Because, again, I know you gave up 80, and I know Momcilovic went bananas. And you can't erase those. You did a lot of other things pretty well. But Iowa State made its second most threes in a game all season. Iowa State had its second most points off guarded catch and shoots this season. So, again, it got some open looks, and it made you pay each time. Almost something that it hadn't done all season at that level. That was the second fewest unguarded catch and shoots they've had in a game all year. Second fewest they've had all year, but they had the second most points they've had all year. Another example I keep screaming about, there's got to be regression coming. West Virginia didn't allow many open shots. They made you pay almost every time.
That was one of the rare times where their warm-ups were a precursor to how they're going to shoot. I was watching Momcilovic warm up, and it was breathtaking.
Really?
He just kept stroking all the way around the floor, just kept stroking three after three after three. Then guess what happened when the game started? He continued just to knock them down. Lots of times you'll see guys warm up, don't miss. Game comes, bang, 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 doesn't go the same way. That was one of the great shooting performances I've ever seen.
He was unbelievable. But those numbers jumped to me, Hop. Second fewest they've had all year in terms of open shots, but the second most points out of that. Here's another one. When I was talking about, Hop, where you did almost everything you wanted to do, save for a couple categories that were the killers that cost you the game. But Iowa State came into this game top 4% nationally in points per possession with the pick and roll ball handler. So one of the very elite teams. And that's multiple different guys. They were also top 2% nationally points per possession with the pick and roll man. So that's a tough combination. They're great with the ball handler. They're great with the roll man. Some of that's Buchanan. Some of it's Jefferson in either location. But how about this? You held them to just 0.63 points per possession with the pick and roll ball handler, well below their season average. 0.63. They were up well over 1 point per possession. So you cut that almost in half. You held them to 0.5 points per possession on the pick and roll man, almost half of their season average. So in that category, that was one of the things you had to cut off. You had to cut off that lane and cut off their ability to just go straight down the middle of the floor on you. Now, again, they took advantage of it by switching what they do and made more threes.
So those are really insightful numbers, and they give you a little bit more encouragement than I gave you. But what I'm hearing is you did almost everything you wanted to do and still got beat 20. And one of the and you didn't make you didn't make shots, so you got to make. I mean, so in other words, to be competitive with these teams, I'm talking about all these good teams in the league. You have to do all these things and have a good night shooting. Like everything has to work. There's no margin for. There's zero margin for error.
That's this league.
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
that's the league.
There's very little margin for error for anybody. Cincinnati had Houston down most of the game, and then lost because Houston's a very good team. Well, I'll say this when we get to the Cincinnati preview. You're going to look at Cincinnati's record and go, okay, here's West Virginia. They got this. Cincinnati's very good. There's not one game in this league where I'm going to come in here in a preview and go, okay, you got it. You're good. You got it.
Yeah.
Don't worry. If you go out and miss some shots, don't worry about it. You still got it. It's going to be every night.
It's a shot-making game, number one. The thing that took me aback on Friday night was when we were in here for the last show, we used the term, here comes big boy basketball. West Virginia was not ready for big boy basketball. West Virginia got big boyed. 50-50 balls went to Iowa State. Loose hand rebounds, balls getting slapped away. Brad mentioned those deflections. We were not on the ground. This team has to play with a reckless abandon, a physicality. They have got to get every loose ball. There needs to be heads on the floor going after balls. It's not there. That drives me crazy. Jefferson at one time was double teamed, stepped right through it, took the ball to the basket. You got to hammer people. This is a physical league. And you look back at when we've been successful, we have been the more physical team. We've been the hammer.
Tougher, yeah.
We've been tougher. We weren't tougher. And if this team doesn't get tougher real quick, right, it's going to be a long, long season. You better get tough because every game is going to be that game.
One other note right now that, again, you pick up and you try and move forward, and I'll say it again. You were missing Lorient, which was a big deal, guys, and here's why. It's a 6'9" guy that would have guarded, what was Jefferson's height?
6'9".
6'9". So you would have been able to match their freak. That's a freak dude in Jefferson and how he is a point forward and brings the ball up and initiates offense. Well, you would have had an athlete that's right. It's a better athlete than Jefferson and can go on the perimeter and give him some problems. That might have made a difference there. That might have eliminated some of his playmaking ability. Number two, you run in this particular game, you were going to run a lot of your offense through Brendan Lorian because he would have been the one at the high post. So you avoid that double team trap, and you would have been feeding into that high post, a guy that we've seen lead this team in assists in a game before. That would have made a difference. It would have given you another guy that can hit that little mid-lane floater, another guy that can get to the basket. So that's a factor. You can't just dismiss that. You went in with one less dude. Here's one last number I'll leave you with. West Virginia had averaged a higher point per possession versus Iowa State than Purdue did. Purdue's the number one team in offensive efficiency this season. You have games sometimes, Hop, where the ball doesn't go in the basket. They smothered Purdue. They gave All-American Braden Smith, who will be a first-team All-American again, his season high in turnovers, maybe a career high. West Virginia had a better points per possession average than Purdue did. West Virginia had a better points per possession average against Iowa State than Creighton did. It's a top 60 offense, usually better than that. They had a better points per possession than Syracuse did. I'm going through the Power 4 teams that Iowa State's played. Iowa had a better points per possession against Iowa State than West Virginia did, but only by 3/100ths of a point. Iowa's 25th in the country in offensive efficiency. All of that, you did all of that while not making your threes, while missing open shots, while not making as many as you normally do, and you still ended up with those numbers. And that's why I say, Hop, yes, you got beat by 20. Yes, Momcilovic lit you up. Yes, you weren't tough enough and strong enough to get the loose balls. There's a lot to work on, and you've got a long way to go. But there were also some things that you pick up. I didn't look at that game and just go, well, that's it. Didn't do anything right.
No, I agree.
There were some things that in there that if you can replicate those and continue to improve, all right, you got a lot of basketball left here.
And this team will get better. Think about this. That's also the very first time that team has been in a true road game, right? We played neutral up until now. A true road game against one of the nation's best teams. I mean, the thing you can't take away from Iowa State, they went to Purdue and beat them by 23 points when Purdue was number one in the nation. So when this Iowa State team is clicking, they're superb. Now, there's going to be some nights where they're not, but when they're clicking and Momcilovic is hot, you got a very limited chance. Could that score have been better? Yeah, it could have been better. I don't know. It would have taken a Herculean effort for West Virginia to win, but could West Virginia have played, and had they gone and been really physical and gotten those loose balls, it's probably a 7-10 point game, not a 21-point game, but there's room there. There's room for West Virginia. Three guys before the game. We'll get into Cincinnati here in a second. Brought to us by Lou Wendell Marine Sales. I don't know if you've noticed this or not.
What?
But this is the prime. This is basically peak boating season. Right now, it's peak.
Excuse me?
Boating. Yeah, why isn't it? Peak boating season. I mean, Lou Wendell still opens the doors Monday through Friday,
Yes.
including Saturday. They're open. If you are thinking about the upcoming spring, and it's going to happen here quicker than you would imagine, take a look right now at Lou Wendell Marine Sales. I would imagine you could probably go in there right now. Not a whole lot of traffic. You can kind of get in there, talk to the sales folks, and get yourself a fantastic deal. Whether your boat needs service or you're looking for a new craft, you can check them out. They're the only Honda Marine premium dealership in the state of West Virginia, and they have that brand new Honda McLaren racing motor. Check it out at Lou Wendell Marine Sales. Think about the fun. Think about the sun. It's coming sooner than you think. I saw the other day where it's getting darker later.
Yes.
Don't know if you noticed that, Brad. You
Yes.
noticed
Noticed
that?
it.
Yes, noticed
There's
it.
a noticeable. You can change.
Yeah.
It's not happening at 2:30 in the afternoon anymore. It's a little bit later than that. All right, let's jump in here. Cincinnati Bearcats come in. They lost at home to Houston, as you said. It was a tight game. It could have gone either way right to the very end, but Houston, who we'll talk about next week, they're good. and news break, they're good, and they were able to finish the deal.
Hard to win in this league, man. Cincinnati was right there, as you said. You're going to get another really good defensive team here, 6th nationally in defensive efficiency. This has the potential to be one of those rock fight type of games, right? West Virginia is, I would think, is going to bounce back with some physicality and some toughness in this one, and Cincinnati's going to come in here and try and bully you. So they've been elite defensively. They have really struggled offensively. So this would be all right if they'd take another day and struggle again offensively. This is not one where I hope I don't come in Thursday and go, well, I'm going to tell you what, Cincinnati made the most threes they've made in any game before.
That's happened, by the way, that's happened a couple times
we
this
don't
season
need
against
that,
opponents.
Hoppy. They have really struggled. 215th nationally in offensive efficiency. I think one of the big keys in this is, again, I could use this every night, but I think it's going to be a big one this game. The 3-point variance will likely determine this. These are two teams in West Virginia and Cincinnati that take fewer shots at the rim than only one other Big 12 team. This kind of surprised me. Houston takes the fewest shots at the rim in the league.
What's that mean, at the rim? All shots go to the rim.
Layups within 3 feet.
Okay.
Cincinnati takes the second most above the break threes, so wings and top of the key. Cincinnati takes the second most of those shots in the league and the second most corner threes in the league. They are in the 91st percentile in 3-point field goal attempts per game.
Don't let it go.
Yet, in the 28th percentile in 3-point percentage. So they take a lot of threes and have made very few. In fact, they're just 32% from three-point land, 262nd nationally, so basically bottom 100. That's a big reason why they went and added Jizzle James off the waiver wire. Did you know you could do that?
There's not a way. There's not
if you have a roster spot.
People
if
are
you have a
listening.
roster spot, Hoppy, and you need to add somebody, they look around. They said, you know what? Jizzle James has been with us before. He is currently a free agent. He is unsigned at this moment. We're going to go sign him. Actually, they took him off their practice squad. I didn't know if you had that. He'd been practicing with them. They elevated him from the practice squad. He hadn't played yet, Hop.
Okay.
Gives them another shooter. He's shooting 40% from three in limited games. I don't know if they've had any other waiver wire pickups since Saturday, but Jizzle James was a nice addition for them. We saw him last year.
You know, some people actually take what we say on this show to be like truth. There is not a waiver wire.
There's not?
No.
How'd they get him?
They brought him back, similar to what Baylor did. Baylor brought a young man in mid-season. Texas Tech women.
Jizzle was on camp. He was practicing with them. They did elevate him from the practice squad.
Here's something for you. Wednesday. You doing anything Wednesday night?
No, why?
I want you at the Coliseum.
Okay.
Texas Tech women, undefeated, and they've got the first 7-foot women's basketball player in women's basketball, 7'1", from Nigeria. Now, she hasn't been cleared to play, probably won't be. I'm sure she's traveling, though, because she's practicing. Just come take a look. That'd be a great game.
Yeah. By the way, waiver wire would imply that there's some rules.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's just like, who can you get?
So Jizzle James, 40% from three in limited action since he's returned or been elevated from the practice squad. So he can shoot it, so you're going to have to be on him. Day Thomas, I hope Cincinnati's not listening to this. They probably aren't, right?
Probably
Nobody
not.
From the Cincinnati staff.
Probably not.
He's shooting 46% from three, Day Thomas. I mean, he can score it. But he's got the third most attempts. Probably should get him the ball. Maybe let him be number one. And he's shooting 46%. Maybe want him to be number one?
Yeah.
What? Maybe?
How many is it? What? Are there guys taking more than him?
Well, Kerr Kriisa, you've heard of him. You know Kerr?
Familiar.
Yeah. Hoppy, remember Kerr Kriisa
Yes,
played
I do,
here?
yes.
He leads them in 3-point attempts. But he's not shooting it very well. He's just shooting 33%.
His playing time's been decreased since Jizzle James came back.
Yeah, that's correct. Sean Abave, if you get the pronunciations down yet. Interesting player there. Second most attempts from three on their team, just 24%. McDonald's All-American freshman came in 6'8". I mean, they've got some talent as well. Baba Miller, one of my favorite names in the league.
Good.
He's having a heck of a year. Him and Chom, remember Mustafa Chom, 7'2", played at UCF last year. They're struggling from three as well. 6 of 35, 2 7-footers. 6 of 35, just 17%. And then we'll see Sincere Harris back in the Coliseum, played for West Virginia last year. He's struggling from three as well, just 3 of 14, 21%. So they've got some guys out. Don't let Day and Jizzle get hot. Let those other guys keep shooting.
You think Sincere might want to put a shot or two up there?
Probably.
Yeah, I think so too.
Cincinnati wants to.
That'd be a good game for you to go to, by the way.
Can you get me tickets behind you where you all broadcast?
I don't have access to those tickets. I can get you two somewhere in the lower level. I can't get you behind. What's he doing? I don't have control of tickets behind me. Those cost money.
Okay. Let me check with my wife, see if she wants to go. I'd like to go. I would like to go. What time's the game?
7 Eastern.
7 Eastern.
It's a very common start. 7 Eastern. We'll be on there.
I tell you what,
We'd love to have you.
Maybe I can
I'm
just
sure
sit up
Ross would love to have you.
I would like to see the game.
Okay.
Cincinnati wants to shoot it quickly. 92nd percentile in percentage of shots that come in the first 10 seconds of the shot clock.
Wow.
Oh my.
Only 20th percentile when it comes to the points per chance or points per possession on those early shots. So just like their threes, and a lot of those are threes, they're trying to shoot it quickly, but they're not having a lot of success. Let's continue that, because here's a stat that concerns me if it continues, Hop. First percentile, let me back up. If you can get them to shoot it late in the shot clock, which West Virginia likes to do, eliminate that first look for them, make them have to run their offense. They're just in the first percentile nationally in points per chance in the last 10 seconds of the clock. They're only shooting 29% from 2 and just 16% from 3 late in that clock. So that's going to be a good push-pull. Do they come down and just fire shots, or can you force them to have to run a little bit of their offense because they have not been good at that lately? West Virginia's defense is 95th percentile in opponents' points per chance in the last 10 seconds of the clock. So that's it. Just, can you do that? Can you keep them? Or if they want to go ahead and shoot it early, can they be difficult contested shots and you go get the rebound? Keep an eye on this stat, though. This is a little bit worrisome. West Virginia's opponents are shooting 43% from 3 in the first 10 seconds of the clock. That's just in the 5th percentile nationally. So you're getting a Cincinnati team that wants to shoot it quickly and will take threes. 41% of their shots in the first 10 seconds are threes, against a West Virginia team that's seen opponents have success early in the clock before its defense gets set up. So could use some regression right there as well. Cincinnati's last in the Big 12 in free throw percentage, 64%. In fact, they're one of the worst teams nationally. Only 20 teams are worse in the country on free throw percentage. But here's what's interesting, Hop. You know how I'm talking about regression? How many times have I said it today?
Yeah.
Where you don't give up very many open shots, but when you do, your opponents are hitting them. This is an uncontrollable stat defensively, but it goes on your defensive resume. You have nothing to do with it. You're just standing there watching the other team shoot free throws. West Virginia's opponents are shooting 74% from the free throw line, top 100 nationally. So even bad free throw shooting teams have stepped in for the most part and made free throws against West Virginia. At some point, you hope those numbers start to change a little bit. Couple last things, then we'll move along. Cincinnati, 7th defensive nationally in defensive rebounds. So we talked about West Virginia's got to find some opportunities on that offensive glass. This may be a tough game to do it. The aforementioned Baba Miller has been awesome here. Number 1 nationally out of 2,300 players in defensive rebound percentage. Number 1. He's a dude. He cleans the glass, 7 foot tall, 6'11". They also have the aforementioned Mustafa Cham. He's in the top 7% of all players nationally in defensive rebounding. It looked like against Houston, they played those two together a lot more. So they may try and throw some size at you coming up tomorrow. Cincinnati does a good job at forcing live ball turnovers. They're 73rd percentile, but they don't convert very often. Just in the 41st percentile, trying to convert off that. They're last in the Big 12 in points per chance off live ball turnovers. So again, always important, Hop. When West Virginia's playing with limited possessions offensively, you got to keep those turnovers down or it's a recipe for disaster. They like to shoot the threes off live ball turnovers, but not shooting it well, just 27% from 3 in those situations.
Their 3-point field goal percentage defense is a little scary. They're 3rd in the Big 12 right now. They're only allowing 30% to be shot against them from 3-point range. West Virginia's 15th in that category, giving up 35%. Stat of the game right there.
Well, honors due after struggling at Iowa State.
So what's Ken Palm have the number to be?
West Virginia wins.
By a couple 3?
4.
Okay.
One last number. I found this interesting. They've only scored 12 points on baseline out-of-bounds plays in the last 8 games.
Excuse me?
Only 12 total points on blobs in the last 8 games.
Young men need to work on that.
Okay.
Very
I
important.
mean, I got more, but I know we got to get moving.
Students aren't going to be here, so everyone that's there, you got to do your part to be a student. Make as much noise as a student would be if you're there.
Talked about a lot of guys. One last mention, Jalen Celestine. Remember him?
Yeah.
Yeah, you've seen him. Played at Baylor. 5th year of college basketball. He's played in 122 games.
Woo.
Jeez.
It's a lot of games.
So you've seen him.
122 is a lot. Time now for Textual Healing is brought to us by episode800.com. You can hit us up with a text, message, pictures, whatever it might be, 304-404-4083. You can go to our website. We've got all of our stuff there, our coffee, our apparel. We got popcorn on there now. Is it seasonal? We're out of the
Seasonal, out of popcorn right now. We'll
But the
bring some back around
Valentine's is coming back. That's coming up pretty soon.
Valentine's, as some people say. But
Yeah,
they don't.
Valentine's Day is coming up here pretty soon. That's a good one.
By the
too.
way, early report, I know this is a live podcast, so people getting this information in real time. Had a report from Rusty's Mountaineer Roasting today, fully stocked
they got
with game day grind, and they were making more out there in the back. So
They were roasting it today?
Roasting
I
today.
like when you roast it out there. It smells nice. By the way, we're less than 3 weeks away from the annual WVU Baseball Leadoff Dinner. That has become kind of like the Academy Awards. I mean, it's like
Is there a red carpet?
It's like the film festival over there in France. It's a big event.
it has turned into a big event.
It's
I
a
agree.
huge. Randy Mazey started that, and Steve last year. Obviously they keep it going. But that's coming up on January the 24th. If you'd like to get behind Mountaineer baseball, it's a Saturday. Unfortunately, we'll be on the road with hoops. But we encourage you to check that out, and we got to get Sabins in here.
We should do that because I think pitchers and catchers report like tomorrow.
Well, college baseball doesn't stop now.
The boys were out late last night, shoveling the baseball field.
Oh, were they?
I was like, oh my god, they were out there hand shoveling. Multiple
Well,
guys
that's-
get to
that's
shovel.
a lot to shovel.
Because it's gonna be
50.
It's spring basically this week. Spring's arrived.
Yes.
It's gonna be in the 60s, so you want to get out on the field and be able to get some
100%.
work in.
Steve had him out there with
young
shovels.
men out there shoveling, so the field's ready. Hoppy.
My goodness. Don't they have some equipment for that?
Well, yeah, but they had to get a bunch of stuff going on. Those guys had to work. It was work Sunday night. They had to get out there.
It's good for the kids. It helps the rotator cuffs.
I don't know about that.
Yeah,
good work.
It's good.
All right. Good for them.
Get out there, take some
It'll be-
fungos this week when it gets to 60.
Be here before you know it, they'll be playing. Probably
When's that
take a
date?
southern swing.
Well,
Jan 24.
yeah, it's the dinner, but I mean, they're playing baseball in February.
Yeah, but the dinner I'm asking.
Yes, January 24.
Thank you.
Here, Morgantown. Here's from the Textual Healing line. Man, we just mentioned the Mountaineer Munch popcorn. We sold a lot of that during the Christmas season. Here's a young man by the name of Corey. Corey got his popcorn, and he is fired up. There he is. Look.
Happy.
He got what we do is we put it in the can, but we also have it in the bag. We put the bag in the can in the bag, the bag in the can. We sign that too. Sign those labels. So, and I hope you enjoyed that, Corey. It is, in all honesty,
Thanks, Corey.
super
Awesome.
good.
Yeah.
Texter, happy 3 guys, New Year's. I wish I would have found this closer to the episode that Tony wore his Letterman sweater. This is an amazing picture. I want you guys to take a close look.
Okay.
This is a picture of my wife's grandfather, WVU Hall of Famer and former Maryland head coach Roy Lester, drinking cold beer with Eddie Beach, Leland Bird, Bob Miller, and Fred Schaus. Would love to see you all recreating this with Homeless Dave and Nate Adrian looking on, signed by AJ in South Park.
That is
so on the far left
classic.
side, the gentleman in that sweater.
Argyle sweater. That's a big
Argyle. That's why I
Argyle
was
sweater.
looking for
Yeah.
that word. That's
Nice.
Roy Lester. Eddie Beach is next to him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then Leland Bird Hoppy dead in the middle there with a
Yes.
place. Then next to him, a gentleman by the name of Bob Miller, and then future WVU athletic director Fred
Fred
Schaus.
Schaus.
And they were just having a big time.
Oh,
Just a
boy.
big W and a big V on that
yeah.
sweater.
Is that awesome
That
or
is
what?
great.
So I have no idea. That would have to be early 1950s.
Yes. I would
Early
think so,
90s.
yeah.
That looked like
picture.
Fred was still like playing, right? That was not that. So that's an awesome picture. Anyway,
Thanks, AJ.
That's
Jim
great.
from Clarksburg. Remember Texas Tech running the fake punt against West Virginia when the game was already out of hand? I'm taking Oregon's last touchdown in the Orange Bowl as a little karma to the Red Raiders.
Boy, they didn't show up, did they?
You talk about an ass beating.
Man.
Hello. That didn't help the league.
I had mixed feelings. On one hand, it was, you got to represent the league. On the other hand, it was good. Beat them in a submission.
Logan in Morgantown writes, "Hey, 3 guys, don't know if you saw this news, but Andy Kotelnicki," said in Don Crickey's voice, "is back at Kansas. It's been a while since that name showed up." Hoppy did mention him earlier. So yeah, but you're right. Kotelnicki is back.
They should be thrilled because their offense hasn't been the same since he left.
No.
Jalen Daniels was not the same quarterback as he was previously, so now we'll be back to mentioning Andy
Kotelnicki,
Kotelnicki.
hello.
Ed in Woodsboro, Maryland. Kotelnicki's not my concern with Kansas. It's that defensive coordinator. That one, we should not forget that defensive coordinator getting in the face of one of our players.
That's true he did.
Yeah.
Is he still there?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Ed in Woodsboro,
Might have gone in
Maryland.
the portal.
Hey, guys, what is the WVU administration policy on marijuana at the football tailgates? Last 2 games I've attended, TCU 25, Iowa State 24, the smell of marijuana was pervasive in the blue lot. It was so bad that it gave the impression the university has turned a blind eye to it. Is WVU aware of this problem? Thanks for the feedback.
Well,
Hoppy, you're a marijuana expert. What do you got?
Don't know how to take that. I don't know. You can go down to any street corner and buy marijuana or marijuana-related products. So what do you do about that? I don't think that WVU realistically wants to go through the tailgate and start like busting people. That's not going to happen.
Last one. We have a whole team of coaches, but you would think any of them could explain to us, simple-minded fans who have watched basketball for between 30 to 60 years, exactly what our offensive strategy is. We play further away from the basket than any team I've ever watched. While I understand they're trying to get Honor some looks, he can't win games alone. Yes, Chance will at least drive the basket, but no one else will. I really don't get this strategy. Players are handcuffed, timid on offense. We can't get to the free throw line if we don't consistently drive the ball. Also, when Honor and the other freshman guard Jenkins are in at the same time is when things go bad. 2 small guys can't guard the larger players to get stops or get rebounds.
Well, when you spread the offense, Brad, what does that do to the other team's defense?
Spreads it out, and that's part. So, yeah, thank you. That's part of what you're doing. There's floor spacing is important. You're trying to spread. You're trying to isolate. You're trying to get individual matchups. Pick and roll's very big. In order to do that, you've got to have some spacing out there. Listen, I know it can look rough when you're missing shots, and West Virginia plays a style that's slower paced. So that at times, when you're playing slower paced, and then you have a night when you're not making shots, I get where you could say like, oh, this isn't very pretty, which is true. This number may surprise you, and maybe I should explain this more. The reason I go to points per possession so often, Hop, it neutralizes and balances out the stat where it's points per game. So a lot of coaches go to points per possession, both offensively and defensively, to find out how your stuff is working, for lack of a better way to describe it. And it's Ross Hodge's favorite statistic offensively. He'll go to what's our point possession, and he's very versed in it. I mean, he'll know after the game immediately what each one was. This number may surprise you about this particular West Virginia offense, that so far as a team isn't shooting it as well as I think they can shoot it from 3. They're definitely not shooting free throws as well as you think they can shoot it. So those are 2 big things, Hop. If you're not shooting elite from 3 and you're not making a lot of free throws, your points per possession are going to be down a little bit. Those are 2 easy ways to kick that number way up. Given you're not shooting from either of those spots like I think this team is capable, a couple things. Or I'll just give you one. I've got a couple stats. I'm just going to give you one because I found this interesting. I looked for the last season in which West Virginia's points per possession offensively was higher than what it is right now in this moment. Now, there's a lot of season left. Maybe it goes lower over the course of a season. But as we sit here today, starting conference play 1 game in, comparing it to where West Virginia's been through its recent history in points per possession, where does this team rank in offensive efficiency? This may surprise you. I had to go all the way back to 2005, 2006 to find the last time a West Virginia team had a higher points per possession offensively than they currently do right now.
Interesting.
Surprising, right?
Yeah.
That's a long time back. So I say all that to say this offense, it was part of my point of I think it's closer than it is further away. A few more threes fall. Trayson gets unlocked more consistently. You make a few more free throws, and I think this offense is going to look different at times. But, yeah, when you miss a lot of shots and you miss a lot of threes, there's no doubt it can look ugly at times.
And the thing about basketball is you get a lot of quick opportunities to show your improvement, and that starts for West Virginia Tuesday night inside Hope Coliseum, West Virginia, and the Cincinnati Bearcats. We'll be back on Thursday, and we'll recap the Cincinnati game, and we'll preview Saturday's date with the Kansas Jayhawks. I think Darren Peterson load management.
You got to be very careful with hamstrings.
He needs to settle that back.
Hamstrings can linger,
Yeah,
right? If you try and come back too soon, I'd just go ahead and sit if I were him.
That first half he had, though, was a pretty good half.
Wise
What
moving.
do you have, 20, 26, 23?
At one point, he was 22 points in 23 minutes.
That young man needs to rest that hamstring.
Early second half, and then they said.
Three guys brought to us by Gomart. Get a Gomart rewards card. Go to Gomart.com for details. The vinyl value days are beginning. Prices back to 1975 at Gomart. This is going to be something special. I'm just letting you know. Vinyl value days, prices back to 1970s prices.
It's a good promotion.
Get the app. You'll see the advantage that you'll have. I filled up yesterday, by the way, mile ground.
Oh, you didn't get it Saturday?
No. I didn't get
Missed
Saturday.
triple points.
I was with you Saturday. Three guys brought to you by Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans. They sell family fun. By Tudor's Biscuit World. Start your day the homemade way with a Tudor's Biscuit. Comax Business Systems, keeping West Virginia's business data safe, secure, and efficient for 25 years. By Jan Dills, attorneys at law, they won't take no for an answer. And by Conley CPA Group, providing value beyond numbers. Look, Hoppy, look up at the clock. I'm going to go hard out and hit the top of the hour just to make you feel like it's a radio show.
Network news here at the top of the hour.
Yes, stand by for network news. Thanks to our producer, Dr. Jake, for Hoppy, for Brad. Three guys before the game. Episode number 687 is over and out. Have a great day, Mountaineer Nation. We'll see ya.